Well, good evening, everybody. Welcome to another episode of Communications and Cigars. I'm your host, John Crook. Thank you for tuning in. We got a kind of exciting show tonight, I think. First off, we're going to be doing a little bit of an announcement about some things that have been going on behind the scenes here in regards to the show. There are going to be some changes and stuff like that coming on. We feel it's good changes. Our sponsor feels it's good changes, and we'll get to all that in a little bit. And then we're going to dig into a topic that kind of recently broke over the weekend back on, I think it was like April 4th or April, I forgot now. Anyways, they kind of lead it up to what's kind of happening today in the world of radios, which deals with Hytera and Motorola. Yes, that battle is still going on, and folks, it's gotten ugly, and I don't know what Hytera is going to go ahead and do. I think there might be some problems down the road headed for Hytera, but that's just my opinion, and we'll dig into that for you to go ahead and see about that tonight. But anyways, welcome. It is Monday. It is 8 p.m. here. It is Communications and Cigars. Communications and Cigars, what do we do? What was the purpose of Communications and Cigars? Well, it initially started out as just some kind of conversations about communications while we were enjoying a cigar, and it's important to keep that in mind, especially about tonight's announcement. But with that being said, it kind of started and just kind of, kind of developed in here, and then we started to do a show, but we kind of took a little bit of a different stance on there, but we'll get to all that in just one moment here. But before we do that, I want to go ahead and first of all, thank everyone for tuning in and have always been tuning in to our show. Obviously, the show sometimes has some gaps where there's no episodes during the week or stuff like that. Kind of explain it all again tonight, but that's because of numerous different things. Like tonight is even recorded, but we do have chatbot in play. I don't want to call it the chatbot, but that's what they kind of call it. But we do have the ability to communicate in the messaging here. So if you are tuning in and you are watching it live, feel free to interact with us on there with it. So it's Communications and Cigars. Let's first of all talk about how you can get a hold of us. If you ever want to get a hold of us and say, hey, John, I got an idea for something to talk about, or I want to be on the show, even that matter, kind of like communications-cigars at jjkcom.com. Once again, communications-cigars at jjkcom.com. JJK Communications is a proud sponsor of Communications and Cigars, where they do try to provide as much support as they can. The cameras, all that kind of stuff like that, all that nice, goofy stuff on there with that. But Communications and Cigars, let's talk about it. Well, we don't really have too much about the cigar thing tonight. I guess it's that time of the season where the weather's starting to get a little bit better in some places and stuff like that, and it's time to go ahead and kind of push out on there. And I feel fitting with the announcement we're going to make on the show that I'm going to list my new favorite cigar, and that is the Camacho Triple Maduro. That's right, the Camacho Triple Maduro. I really like that cigar on there. It's okay. I will tell you this. It is the favorite cigar of Mike Ditka. Okay. I kind of was looking for a good one. It is the the Triple Maduro, the Camacho. I'm going to pull a picture up here so you can go ahead and see it on here. I'm not going ahead and recommending any one cigar, but this is the best place that I found it here. So we'll pull up this picture right here. This is what it is. This is the cigar here. I enjoy it. As you see, it's got a strong profile. The ones I'm getting and able to find are 60 by 6 ring. It is extremely delicious, full flavored. If you like a full bodied cigar and everything like that on there, that's what I would go ahead and suggest you do, is go ahead and look up this Camacho Triple Maduro. Once again, really, really, really great cigar on there. All right. So let's do, before we get into the show and talk about the Motorola versus Hytera fight kind of situation, let's talk about what we're going to do. So obviously, I love doing the show. There's no hiding or denying that in any way, shape, or form. One of the things, though, is that I'm very busy with other things always in my life in regards to communications and other things like that on there, that I don't always have time to do an actual live recorded or live show or even a recorded show. My schedule gets really booked up, and to sit down and do a actual live show takes a lot because planning, setting things up, da 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 da. To even do a recorded show takes a lot of planning and stuff. Not as much as doing a live show, but you got to make sure you got your right references and everything like that, because we do want to make sure we give you the honest truth on there. So we kind of asked. I kind of asked people, do you want to switch to a different day? Do you want to? I heard responses back from people that watched the show from the UK, Europe, all around the world. I was actually surprised. One of the things they said, Monday nights at 8 p.m., it is actually nighttime there, bedtime. So as much as they like the show, they're not going to get up. So they're going to watch the replay on it on there. But one of the things I found interesting is that I had a few people that emailed in, and they said, John, I'll be honest with you, John. I like the show. I don't mind it, but I subscribe to like YouTube, YouTube Plus or something, I guess, like that on there, or different ways to watch the episode here through YouTube, but they pull off the audio and they listen to it more of like a podcast. And then a few other people said, hey, I like how you go ahead and just kind of, like at the end, the Ben Mine 10 of those kind of things like that on there. They said, I wish I had some more guests on, and I always wish I had more guests on. And one of the things, I've had a few people that I really wanted to have guests on, but they were afraid. And more so because they didn't want their face on the internet. They didn't want that kind of thing, but they didn't mind talking it. So we decided here, after some review, some different kind of things like that on there, what we're going to do is we're going to move Communications and Cigars from a weekly show, or try to do a weekly show on YouTube, to a podcast-based format show. There's a lot of shows that are out there and stuff like that that cover similar things on there. We do cover not just amateur. There's a lot of amateur YouTube channels out there, let's be honest with you. But what we decided to do was we said, a lot of people like to listen to the show, is what I got feedback on and stuff, and they like to kind of just discuss about it and have a roundtable discussion on there. So we looked at it and we said, you know what, let's just go ahead and do that. Let's move it to a podcast format. So the video version of the show, like we're doing here tonight, is going to be phased out pretty quick here, and then we're going to be moving to a podcast-based format. And what we're going to do with the podcast-based format is we're probably going to do a version on YouTube, but then we're also definitely going to do it on a podcast streaming thing. Not everybody wants to do YouTube. Like I said, some people like to listen to it. They don't want to necessarily see that kind of thing. So that's what's going to happen on there. Now, the question that was then thought up or raised, or kind of that was, it's like, well, if we're not doing it, how are we going to do educational stuff? Well, that's where we've been asked by our sponsors, JJK Communication, to move into doing educational videos on the products that we have. We've done videos by talking about P25. We talked about DMR. We had other ones planned for other things like that on there. So we're going to be moving into like educational videos dealing with those kind of things that we have been talking about. Tuning duplexers, those kind of things like that on there and everything like that. So see that kind of change. The channel here will still remain up, but it's going to primarily be just recordings of it. Some have asked if we would record the podcasts, because that's some of the things. That might be something that we may also do too. But we're going to kind of start moving into a podcast only based format. And some people might be disappointed. I understand if we're going to lose some subscribers, but we never were in for subscribers. We never were in for the money. We were always just kind of doing it to say, hey, I want to get education out there. I want to do those kind of things like that on there. So we're going to be moving more towards a educational standpoint on there like that. So that's what's going to go ahead and happen. I know for some, you might say, hey, that's a great idea, John. I'm still going to tune in. I'm going to listen to podcasts. It's going to be great. I hope to get more people on the show, so it's not just me blathering on for 20, 30 minutes or whatever. We do have a few that we have been recording, so it's going to be good. If you want to, I have a few people that are lined up that are going to be on kind of as guests of the show, maybe even a few that are going to turn into quote unquote guest hosts. So if you are interested in it, please feel free once again to reach out on there. We're still going to use the same email, communications-cigars@jjkcom.com, and we're going to be calling it The Lounge, the podcast of Communications and Cigars. So stay tuned for that. We're going to release more information on that coming soon, but that's kind of that announcement on there. And the reason I said at the beginning, remember why the show started? The show was started to just have a talk about communications while not having to use communications. Okay? Like to not have to be on the radio and do an ad, to not have to be on HF, to not have to like, hey, I want to talk about like, why does this do this? Or why does this do this? And we did it kind of through Facebook, kind of that kind of thing, because back this started when COVID, so go back 4 years ago, YouTube was there, but YouTube obviously became more important during COVID, right? So that's kind of what we're happening. I do want to thank everybody that has tuned into the show for so long. Please feel free to continue into the podcast. Please feel free to continue into the recorded podcast that we're probably going to do here. I don't want to lose anybody. We've never asked for money at all, and I always stress that because I see so many places. I've had people that have told me, John, and people said when I've asked about switching, John, if it's a money thing, I'll throw a couple bucks, towards you and stuff like that to do the show. And it's never been about money. It really hasn't. It's been about the fun, to provide the education, to say, hey, we complain about, people using the right duplexer. What is a duplexer? Like that episode we did on duplexers, I had a bunch of people write to me and saying, John, that makes so much sense. I didn't even realize that kind of thing. So that's kind of the announcement there. Well, let's tune in to the other aspect of what tonight's core part of the show is, which is Motorola versus Hytera. Big situation that took place. And we're going to go back on our way back dial tonight, and we're going to go ahead and tune back to when this all happened, to what it is. Okay? So let me give you the precursor on it. Motorola Solutions, two-way radio company. Everybody knows the Motorola name. Back in the day, Motorola used to make everything underneath the sun. They made two-way radios. They made televisions. They made radios, like AM, FM radios. They made circuit. They made components. They made cell phones. They made blah, 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 blah. Well, as time went on, Motorola kind of started to break up, and they started kind of divesting things away. They used to have a semiconductor division. They got rid of that. They stopped making TVs and radios and all that kind of stuff and jazz like that on there. And then what started to end up happening was that they started to focus, and eventually they got to the point where they said, you know what? We make cell phones, and like they were making some communication type devices and everything like that. Like once you get cell phones, pagers, those kind of things like that. And I'm talking like alphanumeric pagers. And then they made two-way pagers, or not. Well, they made two-way pagers as part of commercial paging, but then they made voice pagers for like public safety. They did public safety radios. They did all these kind of things like this and blah 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 blah. Well, what ended up happening was that they started kind of divest that stuff, and what we know as like Motorola two-way radios is underneath the guise of Motorola Solutions. Alrighty. Now there's another company out there that was called Hytera. Now Hytera, which some people may or may not know, is another communications company, and very similar to the aspects of Motorola. Well, what happened is Hytera is a worldwide company, just like Motorola is a worldwide company. And what they did was Hytera would go ahead and make very much the same kind of radios that Motorola did for the purpose of analog radios, DMR radios, as well as also going ahead and making Tetra radios, which isn't really that kind of thing here. Now, what happened was that, and this is not uncommon, for Company A to coerce to persuade people to leave Company A and go work for Company B, right? Company B says, we want to get started. We want this and this and this. I'm going to grab some people from Company A, and then I'm going to get them to go ahead and work for me at Company B. If you want to see a good movie where that took place, take a look at BlackBerry. It's out. It's like on AMC. It's on one of the streaming things, whether it's Prime or Hulu or Peacock or Paramount or whatever. It's out there. It's called BlackBerry. It's about the BlackBerry thing. And in there, the whole story happened, just truly what happened. Like BlackBerry went along and lured people away, like lured engineers from Nintendo and Nokia and all that stuff like that to come work for BlackBerry. So this isn't nothing new whatsoever, right? This lawsuit started a long time ago. And I'm talking a long time. We're talking BC, like way BC, like before COVID, right? And it actually started, we'll see, back in 2017. Well, as we'll see through what happened here, we kind of went along and we're like, oh, okay, so this lawsuit happened. Motorola, little hint, won. But everybody kind of thought that was the hell of the end of it, right? Motorola won. Let's just lick our wounds, sleeping dogs lie. Let's go ahead and do that. Well, what was brought to my attention was this little pop-up that appeared on the Hytera website. So I'm actually on Hytera.com on their homepage, and it says, notice to public, by order of United States Court, until further notice, Hytera is prohibited from selling any products containing two-way radio technology anywhere in the world. Okay. I looked at I was like, okay, they got hacked, right? That's instantly what I thought. I was like, Hytera got hacked. And then all of a sudden I started to do some research, and I quickly found, yeah, no, they didn't get hacked. This is some legal trouble that they didn't follow through on. And I was like, I'm going to dive into this. Now, we're going to do like Natural Hollywood would do, is we start at the ending. Now let's go back to the beginning. And this is where we're going to learn about it, okay? So, here we are, the start of it. March 14th, 2017, news release. Patent infringement and trade secret misappropriation complaints against Hytera. So this is on the Motorola website. Now I want to say this. I'm not a Motorola. I'm not a, there are some people, okay, let's start with that. When you get brand specific in the radio world, if you're a radio nerd, people get the branded on their butt cheeks, okay? They really do. And I mean, it's like a left Twix, right Twix kind of thing. You love Motorola, you hate Motorola. You love Kenwood, you hate Kenwood. You love E.F. Johnson, you hate E.F. Johnson. Well, Kenwood and E.F. Johnson are the same. But I pledge allegiance to Harris, or I want to burn Harris, right? All these kind of things like that on there. In the DMR world, and kind of the aspect of it, Hytera and Motorola are those two kind of things, right? You kind of had Motorola, or you kind of had Hytera, okay? But why I'm using the Motorola website is because I found this to be the best record keeper on here, and you can go ahead and put pins in the dates here, okay? So, for example, March 14th is here, and this goes ahead and talks about it. And basically, we're going to point out the high thing on there. Mark Hacker, who is the general counsel and chief administrator of Motorola Solutions, said, Motorola Solutions has a distinguished record of developing industry-leading products and technologies, reflecting on significant research, commitment to innovation. We are proud to have a built-in extensive portfolio of more than 4,000 patents, including the patents at issue in these lawsuits, which were developed by Motorola world-class engineers. Aha. When this thing came out, everybody, when they started to hear about it, are like, okay, was it corporate espionage? Was it secrets? What the hell was going on? Well, lots of things were like, wonder what happened. But here we go. Hytera's illegal behavior was assessed by 3 engineers who resigned from the company to join Hytera. Aha. That's it. So these engineers left Motorola. Don't know why. I'm not going to speculate. Don't know if they were disgruntled. Don't know if they got hired away. We all can speculate until we're blue in the face here. We're not going to go ahead and do that tonight. We're looking at the facts here. So, okay, let's go ahead and do this. And they were were senior level positions. In the period leading up to resignations, through a series of serious misrepresentations, carefully planned illegal acts, these engineers maliciously accessed, downloaded, and transferred more than 7,000 highly confidential files related to Motorola Solutions technologies, which include confidential technical, marketing, sales, illegal, and other types of trade secrets. Uh-oh. That's no good, folks. That's no good. Now we can kind of draw the estimate of, really? Still don't know if done on the purpose of the engineers or if it was done by Hytera said, we want these documents, we'll give you more money for it. Don't know, not going to speculate. But, okay. Subsequently, Hytera began illegally manufacturing and marketing a line of products and technologies containing technologies invented, designed, developed, and in some cases patented by Motorola Solutions. Aha. This is where we're at here. So basically what that meant is that Motorola was saying, dude, you know, the Krusty Krab formula was locked up and Mr. Krabs has it. And then we had Plankton who wanted to steal it to use it at the chum bucket, right? If you get that reference, I'm going to say, one, you either have kids, or two, you watch SpongeBob. Either way, I'm okay with that. But point what I'm getting at here is that they took the stuff, and that's not good. And then Hytera had to have known the stuff. We don't know, but kind of like, where did they get it, right? But they came up with it. So that was 2017, okay? That was March 14th of 2017. Now, I wanted to kind of figure out what they were exactly talking about. So Exhibit 1 here is what I'm going to pull up here right now, this Microsoft PowerPoint. This is the filing, once again, March 14th, 2017. Okay, what did they steal? So first of all, they stole the patent for channel management in decentralized trunking, okay? So what is decentralized trunking? Well, decentralized trunking means it doesn't need a controller to go back to it, right? Decentralized trunking means that you can have like one kind of, in trunking terms, like one location that could trunk without calling back to a server. Like a lot of trunk systems, like P25 trunk systems and stuff, the sites have to call back to the server. That's how trunking messages get done and stuff like that. Not in this case. This kind of patent they were looking at is talking about saying the system could be where you can go ahead and key up your radio. It doesn't need to go to a server somewhere to validate, to do the talk group. You just go into that and does that on there. I'm venturing to say that this has to deal with sort of their capacity plus, their cap max, that kind of thing like that on there, okay? The reason I say that is because if you take a look at the time when this software or the filing was taking place, Motorola was changing from capacity plus to cap max, that kind of thing like that on there. They kind of changed it. Now, the next patent that they went along and supposedly infringed on was decentralized trunking and sync patterns. So once again, now we're talking about how to go ahead and work in the trunk system, how to go ahead and saying, okay, if you have a multi-site system, alrighty, the sites can all be connected together, but you can kind of take and scope that technology to say, hey, if I want customer A to only be on site 1, I can go ahead and trunk on site 1, and then they will sync patterns on there. But then if I want to go ahead and have the customer B do on site 1 and 2, that's how it would sync up, and that's how if customer B goes from tower 1 to tower 2, and one of their users talks into tower 1, customer B, and then the other user for customer B is on tower 2, how it would sync up. Okay. This is starting to make more sense now. Next one they talked about is scanning. Now, these all talk about like channel management. So what this is basically saying, like really, once again, cap max, capacity plus, those kind of things like that on there. So now it's kind of starting to come more and more into sync. No offense. Don't sue me, Motorola. Just use the word sync, right? Okay. But channel management and scan, like how, once again, this makes sense on how the radio looks at the different sites in a multi-site system. The next patent they did is repeater access. Once again, dealing with channel management. Okay. And channel management in that case is saying, okay, wait a minute. How do I access a repeater with this whole aspect? So if you take a look at decentralized trunking, sync patterns, scan, and repeater access, we are talking about Motorola's proprietary technology, which is their cap plus, cap max, all those things like that on there. Okay, this is making sense because Hytera had some products out there which sort of was called like pseudo trunking, which kind of is sort of like capacity max and cap plus. Okay, but let me finish this and I'll go there. The next two patents that they infringed on dealt with system connectivity, and this is a big one: the IP Site Connect, IPSC. If you're a DMR user in Ham World, you'll have heard how much this was, and the Hammies hacked the IPSC technology and did that. They really did that I think because of this, by this information getting out and Motorola the Hytera kind of doing it, that's kind of how some of that stuff went on there. And I think that's how it got hacked out, to be honest with you. Okay. System connectivity, dealing with dispatch, how the dispatch users, and when we're talking dispatch, we could be talking about public safety, we could be talking about like a tow truck company, we could be talking about public works, somehow their integration into the system. Okay. So they're not having to use radio themselves and talk into the system. They're actually going ahead, sitting with the terminal, and that's going into there, okay? And then finally, the last patent that they dealt with acoustics and adaptive volume control, which was a stabilization of the audio on there. Motorola's always been a big, hard push on that, especially delving back to the P25 days. You know, one of the claims to fame with Motorola has been their adaptive audio control. Hytera, I noticed, had that when I had Hytera radios that were the ones that were being complained about in here, that, you know, you could almost be standing next to a large machinery, and if you had that adaptive control set right and everything like that, it was going ahead and it would just hear your voice. It would filter out that kind of thing on there. So it's kind of like, okay. So as we go along and move along through the whole deal, here's what we have here. And then once again, they filed it for a patent infringement complaint and a trade secret complaint. So now that you have this filed in the court and the court accepted it, now we see Moto Solutions. Well, here, let's actually pull this one up here. My apologies. We'll pull this up here. Once again, we saw that one. My bad. Let's pull up the second one here. Second one. So now they're filing with the U.S. International Trade Commission, Hytera. Now we're starting to get into some big guns here, okay? Basically, Motorola is saying through the ITC that it asserts that Hytera is unlawfully importing and selling two-way radio equipment and systems and related software and components that infringe Motorola Solution patents. Motorola Solution seeks immediate investigation by the ITC, an exclusion order to halt the importation of the infringing products, and a cease and desist order to stop the marketing and sale of the infringing devices in the U.S. This is going to be important for later on in the show here for what's going on, okay? Basically, what they're saying is that, you got to remember, Hytera is a global company, right? They're not making their radios in the U.S. They're going elsewhere. They could be China, Malaysia, wherever. But basically, Motorola is saying, yeah, Hytera USA isn't necessarily doing this, but Hytera as a company is doing this, right? So they get the ITC, the International Trade Commission, to go along with that. Now, what ends up happening is that as this is going on, now we hear our April 18th, now Motorola files patent infringement complaints now in Germany against Hytera and Hytera Mobilfunk. Okay. Now what they're saying is now it's not just, hey, it's global. Before we were saying, oh, US ITC, we're filing this lawsuit against their ITC. Now we're going after the individual ones. So now Motorola goes after Hytera in Germany. So now not only is it a global company, now we're going after it under Germany. Now, Motorola, here we are, and we're talking 10 days later, April 28th, Motorola Solutions announces investigation of Hytera Communications by USITC. USITC Institute Section 337 investigates investigation of certain two-way radio equipment and systems, related software and components thereof. So Motorola was announcing at that time saying, hey, we're asking the ITC to investigate. Now the ITC is saying we are investigating on it, which is never good, because if you have the ITC, the International Trade Commission, going in there and they're actually taking up the investigation, there's like found merit to be involved on here. Now, July 24, 2017, here we go back over to Germany. They file additional patent infringements complaints in Germany against Hytera and Hytera Mobilfunk. So think of Hytera as a general. They're filing against Hytera, but now they're specifically filing against Hytera Mobilfunk, Mobilfunk, which is like Hytera Germany, let's say, for sake of a better term. Now, July 31st, 2017, Motorola Solution follows proceedings in Australia now against Hytera and Hytera Communications Pty Limited, which is basically like Hytera Australia. So now they're going kind of after US, Germany, and Australia, their main distribution places. Now, the rest of the world, I'm going to be honest with you, we were sitting back and watching this, and we were like, okay, you've done pissed off Motorola, Hytera. If you did what you said you did, you need to pay the piper, right? Let's get this shit done and move on. So, July 17, 2018, the case went along, filed, and if you're looking at it, we're like mid-March to July 17th, and they win the patent infringement lawsuit against Hytera, Germany, basically, resulting in an injunction and a recall. Okay? Now, what this injunction and this recall is basically saying is that it is, for the most part, it is granted an injunction against Hytera, preventing it from using, selling, importing into, or distributing infringing products in Germany. So basically, what Motorola did with that is that they won the lawsuit in Germany, and Germany is like, dude, Hytera is not selling these radios anymore because it's an infringement. You have to stop immediately from selling these radios in Germany. And that's it. There's nothing against there. You have no choice in the matter. Now, Motorola then, July 30th, files copyright infringement complaint against Hytera Communications in the U.S. District Court in Northern Illinois. So remember, before we weren't seeing a lawsuit by Motorola against Hytera in the U.S. We were saying, hey, investigate this. Now comes back, Motorola wins in Germany. ITC must have found something. Here we are, July 30th, 2018. Now we're in the U.S. North District Court in Illinois, and it's saying, yep, we're going ahead and we're being sued. Okay. And basically, here's what it is. Court is setting that Hytera's two-way radios, base station repeaters, and dispatch systems, as well as its related commercialization and sales activity, are infringing patents owned by Motorola and utilizing stolen Motorola solution trade secrets. Okay, this is bad. This is not looking good for Hytera. Okay. August 27th, 2018. ITC judge releases initial determination in favor of Motorola. So basically, the ITC judge said, you know what? We investigated it. We find that there. We find that this is the big part here, 3 senior Hytera employees pled the fifth to avoid self-incrimination. Dude, that did it right there. That did it right there. The judge found that all 4 Motorola solution patents are valid and that Hytera infringed on them. An exclusion order preventing the importing or infringing products into the United States for these three patents, as well as a cease and desist order preventing the further sales and marketing of certain infringing products imported in the United States. The release of the details, it's a 260-page document, which is this PDF here. Okay, basically, if you kind of read through here, it basically is saying, yeah, you done screwed up. They're not going to incriminate themselves, but for the most part, yeah, that bad thing happened. So now we're up to November 16th now, 2018. So now we're in a span of a year and a half. Motorola Solutions wins ITC case. Final determination confirms Hytera did it. So the judge issued a determination saying, yes, this investigation appears to be true. Yes, this is it. But now Motorola wins this final determination. Now, the biggest thing on here is a mandatory 60-day presidential review period has now begun, during which the U.S. president may modify the ITC's final decision on here. So what's happening here, and this is an important part here, is the ITC is saying, yes, we feel that you did that. We feel that Motorola is right. But the president has the right to supersede this. Okay? The ITC's exclusion and cease and desist orders will take place on January 15, 2019, when all Hytera products infringing Motorola Solutions patents 869, 701, and 991 patents, including the following products, would be excluded from the market. Now, let's go back up to here real quick. So the 869, the 701, and what was the other one here? The 991. So basically these 3 here. So we're dealing with the channel management and these right here. Not dealing with decentralized trunking in general. Not dealing with IP site connect, not dispatch, not adaptive volume. So Hytera really only got on the hook for 3 of the 7. But here's what it is. Look at what happened. These are the devices that were impacted. The MD652, 782, 302, 362, 502, 412, 502, 562. So the M's are the mobiles. The B's are the base kind of radios on there. The P's are the portables on there. And the R's are the repeaters. This pretty much was the entire Hytera line. Now, if you remember correctly, Gigaparts and Motorola were for a little while selling Hytera's kind of products on there, and they were selling some 782s and that kind of thing like that on there. Nothing against them; they didn't know, right? Hytera was going and saying that, but now this is kind of like a, oh boy, this is some big stuff here. This isn't messing around or anything like that on there. So now what ends up happening is that now we're at November 20th of 2018. Motorola Solution wins second patent infringement lawsuit against Hytera Mobilfunk in Germany, resulting in injunction of all infringing products. Now, what happens in this case is that if you take a look at this, first judgment in Germany against Chinese patent company Hytera. So now what Motorola did is they won basically everything that they were going all there for. So they got all the patents on there. Now this is taking place in Germany. Now they're saying, well, let's go ahead and see what happens in the U.S. Now in the U.S., Motorola Solutions sets the record straight on recent court rulings against a serial infringer Hytera. A lot of people were saying Motorola was like paying off people and everything like that on there. Hytera omits any... Okay, so here we go. Start out. Regional Court of Germany basically says patent issue 2 injunctions and held Hytera liable for damages. So not only Hytera is illegal for doing this, not only got to stop selling the radios, now they got to go ahead and do that. Hytera admits any redesigned products it may offer in the future will not include the key features protected by Motorola Solution patents. So they had to agree to that. Basically, Hytera sort of had two options in this case. Hytera could go ahead and saying, I'm not going to carry the radios anymore. We're going to drop those lines and come out, or they were able to go ahead and do the new versions. That's where if you're a follower or user of Hytera products, you notice that they came out with an I line, like the MD782 lowercase I. These, and I heard many reasons why they came out with the I. It was called like infringing, those kind of things like that on there. But if you go ahead and read through here, they kind of did it. Once again, kind of a long read. There's the PDF that is attached to it on there. But let's go back here now. We're going to go back to the timeline. Now, December 19th, 2018, Motorola Solution files copyright infringement proceeding in Australia against Hytera Communications. Again, so they're refiling these other patents that they won against with Motorola won against there. So now they're going back through and to kind of put it in the scheme of things, stuff's still going on in the U.S. They're sitting back and waiting. They got until January 19th. They're waiting until see if the president overrides it. Germany, they done lost. And Australia, they're going after them now for the full kit and caboodle. Okay? Now, this is the important one. Infringing Hytera products banned for importation into the United States. Orders prohibiting importation, sale, or marketing of Hytera products in the United States takes effect today. Boom. The ITC said that was approved and everything like that on there. So at this point in time, all Hytera products with this infringing on these patent numbers, which were these, cannot be brought into the United States. You do that, it is illegal. That's what happens. It is illegal in that case. Okay? So now that's where we sit at there. This is January 16, 2019. May 10th, 2019. Basically, Hytera went along and tried to appeal this. They tried to go and saying, hey, this is there, you know, we're questioning this, okay, and everything on there. And the Patent Trial and Appeal Board, so basically Hytera appealed the decision. They said, we're not going to go ahead and do that. So basically what happened is the two patents enabled important functionality provide Motorola Solutions products with a highly reliable, secure communications that customers rely on. There's what they're saying. The functionality provided by these patents is particularly important in emergency and life-threatening situations, including techniques to basically what they're saying, why these patents are important to do it. So what Motorola was going ahead and saying is that they're saying the reason that these held are so important is because we hold these patents for our products. If these products, if other products can use that same thing, what is preventing dangerous things happening to these users, right? They need to use these maybe in mission critical situations. Now, I know a lot of people are saying DMR is not for mission critical. Well, but there is, you know, with public safety, strategic partners, those kind of things like that. And basically, one of the complaints was saying, well, someone has a radio that's not a Motorola radio that could do these same things. They can cause problems on a Motorola system. Well, yeah, it is. So the appeals board was waiting for the final decision review of patent 8991. So what was happening is that the patent appeals board said, you know what? The other two, yeah, but this one, which was 991, which was this one here, channel management and decentralized trunking and syncing things, they said, let's go ahead and take a look at that. Let's pump the brakes on it and see what it is. Okay. So now we're going ahead and that was May 10th here. So that's, once again, we're May 10th. Now we're jumping ahead here to May 21st, and May 21st, 2019. Patent Office says, nope. The U.S. Patent Trade Office Patent and Trial Appeal Board has upheld the validity of all the 4 of our patents, underscoring the strength of intellectual property. So basically, the appeals board said, nope, you violated it, and no, it's done. Now, here's the other thing, too, that's important to say on here. The patents we talked about, we were talking about 3 before. Well, as this kind of thing progressed with Australia and Germany, 4 became at the core. So if we're looking at 111, we're dealing with system connectivity by the dispatch. Okay. Now, if we go back here, we're looking at 869. Now we're talking about channel management and scanning in the system. Now we're going ahead and doing 284. We're going ahead and looking at, oh, wait a minute now, channelized decentralized trunking. And then 991, which was what they were arguing, which is decentralized trunking. Basically, what ended up happening now is that they're saying all of them on there were violated. Now all of them on there. The one that kind of still hung out was this one here, which was the acoustics. that was kind of a different thing. Now, to go down here, look at this last thing I'm going to hear. All 4 of these patents are currently asserted by Motorola Solutions against Hytera in a patent litigation lawsuit in the United States District Court of Chicago, Illinois. In that suit, Motorola Solutions is seeking an injunction against Hytera's I-Series product line. So when this happened, they initiated the I-Series product line. Hytera did, saying, okay, we're going to correct this. Then what happened is the I-Series was released in response to the ITC ordering bans on Hytera's products prior from the beginning imported into the United States. Hytera has removed the I-Series products' key features covered by Motorola Solutions patent, significantly impacting performance. As a result of the PTAB's orders, Hytera will be precluded from raising certain prior art invalidity defenses in the district court proceeding. So basically, if we take a look now at the timeline, Hytera said, we're coming out with the I-Line. The I-Line basically was a bunch of firmware changes on those models they said they couldn't sell, which took those out. But then they're saying, yeah, that was on the ones, but you're still doing this. It's still there. So now Hytera's kind of in hot water. Okay. Hytera's in hot water big time. August 20th, 2019, Motorola Solutions patent infringement lawsuit against Hytera will proceed, including claims against I-Series. So now the lawsuit is taking place, and now Motorola is not going after Hytera, but now it's going to include, dude, you made the I-Series, you're still doing this stuff wrong. Okay. Now we go to February 14th, 2020. Okay. Motorola Solutions win trade secret theft and copyright infringement a lawsuit against Hytera. They went along and they said, you're done. Okay. You lost. You done screwed up on there. In connection with this verdict, the jury awarded Motorola Solutions $345.8 million in compensatory damages and another $418.8 million in punitive damage for a total of $764.6 million. That's the check Hytera had to write out to Motorola because they hired some dudes that gave them information. Okay? We don't know how or why or what happened on there. Remember, we're not going to speculate on that, but whoa. So, significantly, Motorola was awarded the maximum amount it requested. Following this verdict, the company will seek a worldwide injunction preventing Hytera from further misappropriating Motorola Solutions' stolen trade secrets and agreements. Okay? What does that mean, that last part there? What is there? Following this verdict, let me go ahead and highlight it here. Sorry. It says right here, what does this mean? So it means that Motorola wasn't only going after Hytera for what they did wrong and the damages, but Motorola is now going and saying, Hytera, yet it's not this date going forward. Any other your stuff out there, you gotta fix it, man. You gotta fix that stuff. So that is basically 3 years from March of 2017 to February of 2020. That's what happened. Now, here we are, almost a year later, April 16, 2021. Motorola Solutions secures court order to freeze Hytera's finances in England and Wales upon the value of $345.7 million. Okay, $345.7 million. Basically, Motorola is saying, we want our money. Okay, we want our money. Okay, and now they're basically saying you can't get rid of assets. You can't sell assets on there. Motorola did that freezing. So, kind of an interesting aspect of there. Now, we jump February 7th, 2022. So we're just a little over 2 years ago now. Federal indictment, we'll just pull it up here. We'll pull it up here. Federal indictment charges PRC-based telecommunications company with conspiring with former Motorola Solution employees to steal technology. This is the Department of Justice. So basically, a federal indictment was unsealed today in the Northern District Court of Illinois, charging a telecommunications company with conspiracy to commit theft of trade secrets. The indictment alleges that a telecommunications company conspired with former employees of Chicago-based Motorola Incorporated to steal digital motor radio technology from Motorola. As alleged, from 2007 to 2020, Hytera and the recruitment employees used Motorola's proprietary and trade secret information to accelerate the development of Hytera's DMR products, train Hytera employees, and market and sell Hytera's DMR products through the world. The indictment states, according to the indictment, Hytera paid the recruiting employees higher salaries and benefits than what they received at Motorola. Okay, now we know it was like, we can almost say that it was like corporate espionage. Okay. Big thing here, 21 count indictment. 21 counts on there. Whew, that's a lot. That's a lot in my opinion. So that the indictment is there. Now this is a copy of the indictment. Now if we take a look, December 1st of 2022, there's a plea agreement basically between basically the people are trying to plea out of this. So now they're in trouble, right? Now they're in trouble. The people who left Hytera Motorola went to work at Hytera. They're basically trying to plea out of it. They're trying to say, what can I do? How can I get out? That kind of thing like that on there. So now we're talking that the Motorola is going after it. This is not Motorola trying to sue them civilly. This is the Department of Justice in the U.S. going after saying, dude, you committed corporate espionage. You stole secrets. That's not cool. Now, December 23rd, 2022, Motorola Solutions prevails in Australian copyright and patent infringement proceedings against Hytera. That's big because now we see that this is just like going to start to crumble falling, right? Because civilly, Motorola won against Hytera, looking over a $700+ million paycheck. Alrighty. Now there's indictments coming out. Now the people are trying to make plea agreements. Now they're trying to do this. Now I'm sure other courts are seeing this. Man, this is they screwed up. Now this is going to do it. Now here's the thing now. So now we're August 26th, 2023. Okay, roughly 10 months ago, 11 months ago now. Hytera held in contempt. Okay. Because they have not paid approximately $49 million it owes into an escrow account under the terms of the royalty order. So basically what they're saying is Hytera did not pay yet. Okay? Motorola you can guarantee Motorola's got their little bean counters and they're watching it hard. Okay? Biggest thing here, in light of Hytera's reluctance for fines and other monetary sanctions would be ineffective, thus to coerce compliance with the royalty order, the appropriate course is to adjoin Hytera from selling any products containing two-way radio technology anywhere in the world until its obligations under the royalty are satisfied, right? Because you got to look at what Hytera was doing. So Hytera went along and they said, okay, wait a minute here. We owe a big check, right? They took Hytera UK basically and said, okay, Hytera here, UK, you got to go ahead and pay off. So they paid, but Hytera wasn't making the payments, right? They kind of reneged on the loan, right? So now what happened, and once again, this is important to point out the dates here. August 26, 2023. Okay, so we're looking like 6, 7. Well, it would be what we're in the 4th here now, so that would be the 8th. So about 8 months ago, Motorola saying, Hytera, you still got to pay. So what happened is this thing went to court, okay? And they're saying, you need to pay, you need to pay, you need to pay. Hytera's not paying. Well, now what ended up happening is that now we get this here. And this is, once again, now we're back to Hytera website. Here we are, April 2nd, 2024, Court of the Northern District of Illinois, Eastern Division, Motorola against Hytera. Hytera has not paid, and therefore, because they have not paid, and the products went through and everything like that, in 2022, seeking a declaratory judgment against the 8 Series product infringing Motorola's trade secrets of copyright and patent. So basically, it's going back to those radios that they were told they couldn't sell before, because that's where this whole thing started from. But now Hytera is still selling other radios of different, the I version and other newer radios and stuff like that, all I versions, right? And doing it, they didn't pay, and because of that, what ended up happening is the court finds that Hytera is in violation of his order, including as discussed during the April 2nd, 2024 telephone status conference. Now, I thought when I saw this is why I thought it was an April Fool's kind of thing, right? No, this came out on April 24th. Here's what happened. It is on the second day of April, 2024, hereby ordered as follows. In injunctions on sales and distribution, until Hytera is in full compliance with the court's anti-suit injunction, Hytera, all of its officers, agents, servants, employees, affiliates, subsidiaries, distributors, and resellers of any type, and all those persons in active concert or participation with any of them who receive actual notice of the order by persons are temporarily enjoined from performing the following actions: offering to sell, selling, importing, exporting, or otherwise distributing anywhere in the world two-way radio products by Hytera. Big, big, big. Well, let's determine what's Hytera products in this order. Two-way radio products refers to any products containing two-way radio technology, including portables, mobiles, base stations, and repeaters, and includes, but is not limited to, DMR products, including I-Series, H-Series, and other DMR products, Tetra products, and cellular products, i.e. like LTE or push-to-talk over devices, because like Hytera had like a Halo technology out there, and any analog products. This just isn't about DMR anymore, folks. This is basically saying, Hytera, you didn't pay your bill. Because you didn't pay your bill, you're no longer able to sell. And what the other part about it is up there, it's like their agents and everything. This is what they did was they went along after Hytera to the point of saying, okay, maybe there's 100,000 radios in the warehouse in Japan. And let's say there's like 50,000 radios in the US warehouse. But let's say that the dealer has 500 radios in there. What this court order is saying is like, Hytera, you can't ship from your main manufacturing plant to the US. US, you can't ship that out to dealers. Dealers, you can't ship that out to anybody else. So if the Hytera dealers are out there, they can't sell radio. You call up and you say, hey, Bill's two-way radio. Hey, I want to buy a Hytera radio. Guess what? As of April 1st or April 2nd, we can't sell it. Because what they're trying to prevent is the transferring of stock is really what they're trying to do. Because right now, Hytera, as of April 2nd, can't sell any radios. What they have to do is they have to internally come up with this amount of money that's due. And until they pay that money, and until it's registered that they pay, and they've satisfied that judgment that they're behind on, guess what? They're going to go ahead and be screwed on it. They can't sell anything. Right now, Hytera product is sitting there doing nothing. Brand new radios are in there doing nothing. Now, in addition, to go ahead and put it on there, until Hytera goes ahead and pays they're getting caught up, they will hereby order to pay a daily fine to the court of US dollars $1 million until Hytera is in full compliance with the court's anti-suit injunction orders. So basically, if we're looking at the show, which is April 8th, so the 3rd, the 4th, the 5th, the 6th, the 7th, and the 8th. Okay, so here, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. Right now, not only do they owe any monies in arrears, they own $6 million on top of that. Okay? And then in addition to here, it's Hytera is hereby ordered that it may not enforce or otherwise rely on any orders or judgments issued by the Shenzhen court in China action until the contemplated proceedings in this case regarding the H series have concluded and this court consider and make further orders necessary to readjust any prejudice to Motorola from any such orders of China action. Now, what does that last part mean, John? Well, that last part real quick means Hytera was in China. So guess what? Hytera's made in China. So people complain about Chinese radios, Hytera here. But they were filing a court proceeding in China saying, no, your injunctions in the U.S. can't apply to us here. We can make these radios. You can't come after us. You already won the Germany one. You already won the Australia one. The U.S. one. We're mitigating all this. We still have the right to sell and do the products. That's just America one. And then the courts are saying, no, you can't get an injunction in another country to go ahead and go after and overrule an injunction in another country. Now, some people may say, well, then how can the U.S. one work worldwide? Well, the reason the U.S. one can work worldwide is because Hytera U.S. is part of Hytera worldwide, right? Hytera is building it. So if they're building these radios that have infringed on this patent, Motorola found it through Hytera USA radios, right? They said, hey, this radio that I bought from in the US here has all these patents in there. What the hell? Okay. Well, you're not just going to take out there because there's patents all over the world. And we saw with Germany and Australia. So now all of a sudden they're like, well, no, we're not going to hit these little things. We got to go back to the source. Well, Hytera was trying to go to the source and saying, listen, we made these radios. Your patents aren't BS here in China, which if you know why that is, that's there. But basically, it's saying, Hytera was saying, no, Chinese government, we're going after this lawsuit. Chinese government saying, well, we're reviewing it and everything. And could it oversee the Motorola one? Yeah, it could. But long story short, it's not. And it is. Now, what models do these affect? Because this is one of the things, as this kind of discussion broke up and everything like that on online. Some people are saying, well, John, what models does he affect? Well, these are going to basically impact any Hytera radio. Now, Hytera has like two brands of themselves. They have Hytera, Hyter, and then they also have HYT. HYT is more of a lower tier analog kind of cheap line on there, right? That's why they called it HYT. Not to be confused with TYT. I heard some people say, TYT, oh my God, I knew this. No. TYT is Hytera, which once again, in China, no patents because Hytera is copying Hytera the best they can, right? TYT copies a bunch of other crap, right? All the other cheap Chinese radios, right? But anyways, long story short is that Hytera is trying to fight them in the Chinese court to overrule the injunction in the U.S. court. It's not working. The U.S. court and stuff has said, no, you can't continue to sell this stuff worldwide and not pay us. So, interesting thing. I bring it up because DMR is very big in the business world. It's a European standard. We've talked about that. It is very instrumental in a lot of places on there. But it's interesting that it hits this time of the year because we are in March going in April. We're in April now, but a lot of budgets are starting to come available. A lot of places are starting to do this, that kind of thing like that. So if you're looking at your Hytera radio, who knows how you're doing this. This could mean the end for Hytera. It really could. I don't want to sound like a cliche, but this could really mean the end for Hytera. But who knows? We'll wait and see. This is probably I'm going to try to keep up on this because this is a very big one. I've heard people say, well, it's just Motorola being there. But, you know, am I a full Motorola fan? No, I'm not on a lot of things. You pay a lot for the Motorola name, which doesn't give you a lot of things. There's other brands out there. But I do have to feel for Motorola. You had people who are in your company that had these trade secrets, that had this. They stole it, okay? That would be the equivalent of like having a maid who went along and you have a maid that works in your house, and then in your house you have a safe with specific documents on there, and that neighbor across the street, they say, you know what, don't work for that house for $20 an hour. Come over to work at my house for $30 an hour. And by the way, when you're cleaning your last day there, make sure you clean out or make copies of all their information and go ahead and bring it all over to me. Yeah, no, that's bad juju on there. So that's it. And really quickly, you know what really bends my antenna? So you know what really bends my antenna is that realistically, the manufacturing world is a competing world. It is a competing world. But to really go ahead and do this as a company, man, that kind of is a low dealing. I mean, I know people steal trade secrets. I know, it's like insider trading. Hey, I got a secret. I'm going to go ahead and do that. In this case, I stole these documents. We're putting it in our radios, that kind of thing on there. I think what really bends my antenna is that you stole someone's property. This is like plagiarism at a millionth degree, right? Just like Chat GPT steals people's ideas or writes stuff for you. You're taking someone's idea, you're taking someone's technology that they patented. This isn't like someone coming up with a great idea, Motorola puts it in their radios, and then they don't have a patent on it, and someone says, I heard Motorola is doing ABC. Well, we're going to do that same thing too, and that makes it better. I mean, it sucks. I think what's really bad though is that company. It's a worldwide company that's doing this, and it kind of calls it an ethics and morals. I've always tried to see if we can have good ethics and morals. I've always tried to do that, especially in the radio world on there. We really need that on there. The radio world can be really super cutthroat and dangerous and vicious on there and everything like that. But then when you have it at a manufacturing level, I mean, come on, guys. Really. Hytera, a little shame on you for doing it. Motorola, you have a right to go after it and everything like that on there. Is there going to be a clear winner on it? I don't know. It does kind of go ahead and, like I said, seems kind of lowballish and stuff like that to go ahead and do it. I feel that's just kind of bad, especially in this day and age when there's so many different options that are out there. People are going to go for the different options on there. I know, once again, it's competitive, but to go ahead and steal the agreements and steal the secrets or something like that on there, that's kind of, I think, a bad deal. And I'll tell you, if I was Motorola, I can't blame them for going after Hytera on there. If I was Hytera, that's very disgraceful, in my opinion, on there. Well, that's it for this week's episode of Communications and Cigars. I know it was a longer one, but there was a lot that went on about it and a lot that people may not know about it or whatever. Thanks for tuning in. Once again, hope you tune in for the announcement. Take care. I want everybody, if you got them, smoke them. Enjoy the nice weather coming out. And like I said, keep tuning on. We're going to go ahead and post when we kind of start going ahead and doing our first podcast, and we'll get all the information there. Until then, everybody, take care.